What is up, guys? Pie Muffin here, and we are back with another Tales-related video. Haven't really made a kind of discussion video on Tales in quite a while, just because there's been nothing really to talk about. We're pretty much closing. We're actually now a week away from the 1-year anniversary of Tales of Arise, which is insane to think about. I still remember, pre-Arise release, when we were talking about all the news that would come out and all that stuff. But now we are a year later in like a week. And, obviously I wasn't expecting anything big in a year after Arise. I was hopefully at least expecting some kind of announcement though. But as of this point, all that's really happened in the last year is two of the the only two English side mobile games shut down. Christoria shut down in, what was it, like February? I mean, the announcement was in 2021, but then it happened in February. And then Tales of Luminaria, I believe, shut down in like July, which is very unfortunate because, obviously they released Luminaria shortly after Arise to kind of capitalize on the Tales craze. Unfortunately, because of just how the gacha was set up, it really didn't pick up. And then, of course, I don't know if they thought like, oh, with Arise, even though Christoria is not making us the money we want it to, we can just kind of drop it. But now it's just been a very quiet year. If you don't play the Japanese side mobile games, the only surviving ones, Raze and Asteria, it's been a very quiet year for Tales as a whole. They haven't announced any. They've had several Tales streams, but they haven't talked about anything, what the plans are moving forward. With a lot of JRPG franchises, you at least know what's going to be coming next. With Tales right now, all we know is that they plan to have a 30th anniversary title in 2025. But of course, they have stated that that's not all they're going to have. Like, we're not just going to be sitting here for 3 years until that comes out. We may be in luck because at Tokyo Game Show this year, Tales is going to be making an appearance. If we scroll down here, there's a lot of obviously, different things. But if we scroll all the way down to September 16th, the final, I guess the final panel of this day, is going to have a Tales of Series broadcast. They haven't announced who the presenters are going to be. But there's going to be an hour-long presentation for the Tales of Series. Now, immediately off the bat, I can tell you they are going to talk about the Tales of Rise first anniversary merch. I'm sure that's going to be there. They're going to talk about some of that stuff. And I'm sure some of that time is going to be, okay, here's what's coming to the mobile games. So I would say at least like 20 minutes of that hour, maybe even the first 30 minutes, or just 30 minutes in general, will probably be about those three things. But I don't think they would be coming to Tokyo Game Show if they didn't have something to show. I'm not going to get my hopes up and expect anything like huge. Like, I'm not expecting the next mainline title to be announced here. Nothing crazy like that. But they have mentioned wanting to port over, the older titles because as of right now, there are only, 4? Yeah, there are only 4 Tales games that you, I guess technically 5. Let's say you have a PlayStation. There are only 4 Tales games you can play if you have a PlayStation. There are 5 if you have a PC, without obviously emulating. On PC, you've got Tales of Symphonia. And then on PlayStation and PC, you've got, and then of course, obviously some are on Xbox as well. But I'm just talking about, these 4 that I'm about to name. You've got Tales of Zestiria, Tales of Berseria, Tales of Vesperia Definitive Edition, and Tales of Arise. So, at least over here, I think in Japan, some other of the titles are on, like, I've heard, like, something about, like, Tales of the Abyss on Switch or something, but I don't know how legitimate that is. I heard, like, years ago it being talked about or something. But those are pretty much what we have right now. But that's like a fifth, maybe, of the total games that exist, of the mainline series titles. So obviously they want to bring over as much as they can. So I think now would be the perfect time to kind of announce that. It's been a year since Tales of Arise. Show us what's going to be happening in the near future. We definitely have to get something in 2023. There is no way they're going to go 2 full years without anything to kind of release. Now, we have to talk about some of the others. So yeah, I I think the most realistic expectation, if there's going to be anything, would be a port/remaster. I think it's too early for a remake. Whether they want to remake anything or not, I think that's a much longer project. But I think a remaster, a port, like a HD upgrade of like an older game, whether they do, the PS2 version of Tales of Destiny, do a remaster of Tales of the Abyss, slap Symphonia Chronicles or Xillia Duology on modern consoles, whatever they want to do. I think that is the most likely thing to happen next. Well, actually, I think it's the second most likely thing. I think the most likely thing is more Tales of Arise DLC, which realistically I am expecting, but not in the way that you might think. All I'm really expecting is like a 1-year anniversary like DLC, like maybe special outfits they're going to make to celebrate 1 year. But I'm not expecting like another DLC that's going to add like more story or anything like that for Arise. I think Arise is pretty much done. It's gone its course. I think we're going to move on from Arise. Like we do with most Tales games that don't end up getting a sequel or something. So remaster/port, Tales of Arise DLC. They could very well talk about the Tales of Krystoria manga. Maybe we could get some more about that. And then beyond that, I really don't know what else. Realistically, there's not really much else they could really give us unless they want an anime, like a Tales of Arise anime, if they ever wanted to do that, I guess. But I feel like at this point, that's kind of pointless. Like, yes, obviously people would watch it, people would love it. But right now, like, Tales of Arise has kind of like run its course. I feel like people aren't as invested in Arise as they obviously were a year ago. I think pretty much, people played the game for a month or two, and now they're kind of just like, okay, let's see what's next. Which is pretty much how most RPG franchises go that aren't like a consistent, stream of stories that, interweave with one another. It's pretty much like, okay, I played the game, here's my thoughts on it, but now I'm ready for the next thing. So that's realistically what I'm kind of expecting for Tales. But I still want to say, like, keep your expectations tempered, because we very well could just get nothing. I don't think they would show up here if there was nothing, but just do be prepared. It could be like something very minor that we're getting. Now, here's the other thing. I don't think they have the balls to do this yet, but it also would not surprise me if they announce a new mobile game. I really hope that they don't. Here's the thing. I'm obviously a gacha addict. I play so many different gacha games. I love playing them. So if they did announce a new one, of course I'm going to play it. But at the same time, I don't think it's the right time. I don't think... It's not even I don't think. I know that the fan base on both the English and Japanese side doesn't trust them to handle a mobile game again right now. Like, obviously, Raze and Asteria are still doing fine on their own. But especially here in the West... If they try to, after 2 shutdowns within 6 months of each other, like, people aren't going to spend money on your game if they're worried that it's going to shut down. So I think we need a few more projects to come out, something to kind of revitalize people's hope, in the company and the franchise, and then maybe try your hand at another mobile game if you really want to have something worldwide and really kind of put time and effort into it. Don't make it one of those things, because both Luminaria and Krystoria were buggy messes when they release. More so, like, obviously every gacha game has bugs when they releases, but these were just like, they were game-breaking bugs that like made the game not fun to play. So don't try to rush things out just because you're trying to, make a quick penny. Like, if you're, obviously mobile games, that's what they're for, is to make money. But if you're going to do a mobile game, take your time with it. Make sure it's good. Make sure your management is in order, because that was the other thing with Krystoria. There was a whole bunch of management messes because, one management was not doing it right, so then they had to go on to have the person who, handles Raze was then taking over for stuff, and it was just a whole mess. But yeah, so that's pretty much all I have to say on this. What would I realistically want? I don't know how I'd feel about a remake of an old game. Like, obviously, yes, we got a glimpse of it with spoilers, by the way. It's been a year. If you haven't played, then sorry. But obviously, we got a glimpse of what some of the older game areas could look like in this new engine because of the extra dungeon at the end of the game. We got to see areas like There was an area from Tales of Destiny, Symphonia, Zestiria, Berseria. We had tons of different areas that we see what they could look like in a modern engine. So while I would love to see these worlds from the older games, I also would want these games to be done justice. Like, I wouldn't want them to mess with the storyline. Like, obviously, I would be fine with them adding stuff that adds more content to the game, like side quests and stuff like that. But I don't want core things about the story or the characters to be changed if they are going to remake stuff. So realistically, I think it's much safer to just do, like, you know, remasters or ports, which I would be totally happy with. Any Tales game gets a remaster or port, I would buy and play through it again. Obviously, the ones I've already done on the channel, you would not see another playthrough for. Like, I'm not going to do, like, if they do a Xillia duology release, like, I'm not going to, you know, replay it again. I'll replay it on my own, but I won't replay it on, like, as a video series, since I already did that. But that's going to be it, guys. Let me know what you guys think down below. Let me know what you would want to see from the Tales of Series special broadcast for Tokyo Game Show. I think for the most, and obviously Tales of Symphonia 19th anniversary just happened. So if they were going to do a remake, I think Symphonia would probably be the biggest candidate because they would announce it this year, and then next year would be the 20th anniversary, and then they could release a remake for it. But I still think it would be too soon to kind of do that. But yeah, let me know what you guys think down below. Let me know what you want to see. Don't forget to subscribe more if you're new to the channel. I'll see you all next time. Have a wonderful day, everyone.